Just want to have water and green tea.
Awesome.
Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show of a very special guest, a returning guest. We just spoke only 1 week ago about Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick's final film. His name is Sean McCann. And in a week, I mean, people have really responded to his analysis. I kind of did some color commentary and a few things, but mainly his analysis of the film. And we only got... I was like 2 hours I had to go, but we only got all the way up to the ritual scene, which is probably like one of the peak scenes in the whole film. Right. Maybe the ending but so I asked him back to come back for a part 2. So this is part 2. So my suggestion to you, if you didn't see part 1, go back and listen to that. And we also did another show about another occult film of 1999 with Johnny Depp and directed by Roman Polanski, called The Ninth Gate. Super occult, beginning to end. And I think that this film, too, Eyes Wide Shut, I was reading some scholarly articles in the interim of our last discussion, and they're calling it enigmatic, mysterious. But I think with Sean, like, he got through a lot of the depth of what was packed into this 2-hour film. I mean, so much stuff. Like I said on the intro last time, it was shot for 400 days. And I wish I don't have my earbuds in right now. So I'm going to show a couple videos that I wanted to show last time before Sean gets started. But this is one that I wanted to show about the spiral staircase. And it'll play through here. Let's see. This is the spiral staircase. So this is kind of like a depiction of, and I think I can get the audio in here.
Sorry, Dr. Hapgood. Sorry to interrupt. I wonder if you could come with me. Something for Mr. Ziegler. Oh, fine.
I hope it doesn't cut the stream.
I hope it doesn't cut the stream.
Yeah.
Not either. Anyway, I'll take the audio off, but he's walking up the spiral. Oops, that's new. Oops.
Whoops.
Oh, that's bad. So he's walking up the spiral staircase. That's really my point. But this is the drawing board, a Masonic drawing board of this, and this is in most Masonic halls of the spiral staircase. Right. So you can see that this is headed up towards the light. You see the 2 pillars of Joshin and Boaz, which are featured, and Sean mentioned that last time,
right? With
the main character Alice in between those. She's also a depiction of Isis. It's like Isis rising. So the 2 pillars have a lot of occult meaning in that. So that's just one thing I wanted to show. The other one was this. So this is kind of like a little wordplay while Halford is in between his wife and daughter, but Kubrick puts in this sequence of 77, and if you listen to it, you can tell. And 77 references in Crowley's system the Babylon, Babalon, which he spelled Kabbalically, but it was the Scarlet Woman. So I will put this on, and you'll see, and you can see this kind of numerical wordplay too in Stranger Things, which I've covered. But here you go.
You're all of those right?
Yeah.
Every single one of them? That's good.
You hungry?
Sort of.
You want to wait at 7?
Ooh, 7. Listen, can we make it a little earlier because I have 7. Listen, can we make it a little
707.
Yeah, 77. So that was kind of like an interesting sequence there. And there's some other stuff I'll put in as we move forward, but we can go back to the ritual scene. I'll try not
to. I know that we're trying not to do, because we're on live stuff, so we're trying not to do nudity at all, but I've got them mapped out, and I think we can, if you can choose the file that I say, then we can gingerly walk through all the landmines of nudity.
Well said. Gingerly. So when we get kicked off this stream, you can see the same stream on Twitter and Facebook. So
good.
You know, it's being streamed all over the place.
Okay. But, so I guess where we left hello everybody. I'm Sean.
Sean McCann. Thank you.
So
name your podcast again.
My podcast, Wake the Dead, and you can find that Google, Spotify, all of those, and you can find my works. I post them at onegreatworknetwork.com. under my name, I'm in the creators section, Sean McCann, and I post everything there. And I have t-shirts and at storefrontier.com/wake the dead. I make anarchy designs and fine art t-shirts. So anyway, that's my thing. So where we left off before is in the ritual scene. We had to skip over a bunch because of, you know, their disrobing and their performing their dance. And so basically the maidens are chosen to leave this circle. There's like 11 maidens, and they they genuflect to the spirits being summoned, and they disrobe to show the vehicle that the spirits will incorporate with, and then they get
sorry to interrupt, Sean, but this
Please.
is one that I wanted to show last time. In the entrance into the ritual scene, in the background, you can see the swastika motif in between
on the doors,
Harford and this other guy. So there is a swastika. I wanted to show that last time too. What number do you recall what number you want me to go to about showing nudity?
We can start. Well, where you were there was fine. The Bob Hope mask. So this is Bob Hope goes. Okay, so
so that was Bob Hope right there. Huh?
That was the mask of Bob Hope. It's like it's gold, but it looks like Bob Hope.
And there's all kinds of rumors about that guy too, right?
Yeah, Bob. If you read Bryce Taylor, she was bought by Bob Hope. Her name is Sue Ford. He bought her as a child along with Henry Kissinger. They shared this victim, and they programmed Kissinger programmed her mind files, and Bob Hope just used her for sex, basically. She was dual programmed as a sex kitten and as a mind files. So Kissinger used her for her remembering capacity. And instead of having a recording device or a notebook, he would bring her to the meetings and stuff. He would like send her into a filing room and he'd tell her to open files, and she would just look at the page and remember the whole thing and look at all the pages, and then go back later and she would speak out all the things that she saw, and he could like, you know, send her into off limits, you know, into like these other files and only go there for 2 minutes, and then she gets all this information out. It's interesting though. So SRA, satanic ritual abuse, is generally, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here. These maidens have been ritually abused, satanic ritual abuse. And no, Kathy O'Brien is actually different. Sue Ford is Bryce Taylor. Bryce Taylor wrote the book Thanks for the Memories, and Kathy O'Brien wrote the book Transformations of America. And they're both victims, different people. So anyway, Sue Ford, Bryce Taylor is her pen name. She was bought by Bob Hope, and that's specific. And Bob Hope would go to the would have the military performances, and he would bring these slaves to the military, kind of like in the extended version of Apocalypse Now. They used the Playboy models as hookers, kind of the same thing, but he was looking at it from a different angle. Francis Ford Coppola wasn't really looking at it like Kubrick is here. But in any case,
right, Bob Hope was rumored to be always Masonic and all like the jesters, that he was in secret societies and all that.
Yes, indeed, yes. And so if you listen to the firsthand accounts, then he's definitely part of it. But even if you don't believe Bryce Taylor, it's still, the rumors are there. And so just having this element in the film, it works to trigger your subconscious to think of that type of situation. And you can see that he's just an usher for these guys. He just works for them.
Right. So that's telling in itself, right?
Exactly.
Bob Hope really wasn't really at the top of the pyramid, so to speak. Right.
Exactly.
Is that what that means?
Yeah. And that he's totally in it. You know what I mean?
Right. In it too. Right.
Right. So,
And they used to have this thing, the Watker. There was a watcher in the old Masonic orders, and I forgot. I think it was Watkins. I can't remember the name of it. It starts with a W, but there was always somebody who was supposed to watch out when the Masons did their rituals, and it's supposedly kept on into other secret societies where you have this person who was a watcher. I can't remember the same. I can't remember the name of it. Sorry. So
yeah, they have
might
like certain jobs. Like the one guy's a doorman, and then they have another. I don't know specifics because I've never been in the order, but I've read this stuff and I've heard as much as I can. You know. So okay, this is good. This is another good one. So this is the Red Cloak character. Is obviously the top of the hierarchy here. You know, he's the main hierophant ritual performer guy, right? And so he's there on the red carpet, and the red carpet goes back to antiquity when they would slaughter animals. They would throw all the blood and guts on the ground as the people walk up. Like even in Hollywood, they walk on the red carpet. You know, it's like it's showing the people that are arriving at the feast how many animals were slaughtered. Look at what a big feast we have. You know, it kind of goes back to that. And plus we don't need to go that much of a bird walk. But so basically this is, you know, it's a very good view of this Rothschild house. And this is back in the ritual space after the performance was done and after he walked through. And there was a couple moments that we can't really see because there's nudity everywhere, but there was one shot where Bill walks into a room, and on the far wall of the room is a huge portrait of this gentleman with his head on his hand, looking at everything going on, and he's like, it's as if the portrait is watching all the orgy in the room. And the frame is so ornate, it's almost like part of the wall, and it's like the portrait takes up the whole wall with the frame. And then above this portrait is 3 heraldic crests.
Right. That's 1942. Entering port room balcony heraldic shields, right?
Yes. And then there's balcony over the shields, and then there's silhouettes on the balcony. So that like imprints in your mind about the family lines and that there's a balcony, you know, and the people in the balcony are connected to that. And then also there's another scene where tricorn hat, Bill looks up at the balcony while the ritual is being performed, and there's a gentleman with a mask that has a tricorn hat. And then his woman next to him has a hat with 3 points as well. Yes. And the tricorn hat guy nods down, and she has a single tear that's a sorrowful lament. Look at her face on the mask, you know, and her mask being 3 points with bells on it accentuates the 3 points. So you're subconsciously thinking about a 3-pointed hat when you look at this. It like imprints in your mind. And that will be significant later.
Right. And this is rumored to be Ziegler, right? Is that right?
Yes, that's what I believe. Yes. I believe the dude in the tricorn hat is Ziegler. And this tricorn hat is up on the balcony above the red carpet looking down on the ritual. Right. And later when we get, I'll explain why that's significant.
But that's important. So that's the party they went to, just to recap the last show. That's the party Alice and Halford went to where they met this guy. Didn't really know him. Then they went upstairs with the girl who was, you know, incapacitated. But also going back to the early one, the portrait, the heraldry suggests elite aristocratic families, right?
Exactly. So, yes. And almost specifically like, like European
royalty.
European royalty, right. And because Lily Sobieski suggested that he use an ermine cloak, suggests further that it's the royalty and the peerage of that royalty, like the high lords that wear the ermine cloaks, you know. So that's more suggestions of who they are. And later in the billiard room, we learn even further about who they are.
The billiard room is the last scene in the whole show, right?
Pretty close. Yeah. Well, the toy store is the last scene.
Oh, that's right.
Right. So okay. So Mandy, she chose Bill, and she's trying to warn him. And there was a lot of nudity there, so we skipped over that too. But so Mandy is like, "You don't belong here. What are you doing here? You should go." And they could kill me or you if you try to take me out of here or whatever. So just get out of here. It's dangerous. And he's an idiot, and he's like, and then the tricorn hat mask man sends a woman to go fetch Bill, and then Mandy saves him from her and says, "Look, you got to get out of here." And then another mask comes. It's a mask of Columbus, which is really
mask,
weird.
right? Like it's a painted mask. It's a little different than everything else.
Right.
I think there's nudity in that.
Yeah, there's nudity in that one, or at least exposed breasts. But so his hat has an upright pointed square, like the Masonic symbol of the square, but pointing up. And that in Masonic orders means like setting things right, correction, the proper order, that kind of thing. Whereas a downward pointed square is like disorder and like it
symbolizes different.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot going on with the Masonic symbolism. So this is a picture of him walking through and like seeing all the nudity happening, and I think the mask behind him is great. The way that he's the expression, he's looking at the nudity. And so anyway, there's portraits in this room. This is a dining hall, and we can't really see the other ones, but there's one portrait with children, and the children is right next to a mask that has checkers, like a checkered face. And so that, I believe that is, slight hints as to what, more. So let's see.
Checkerboard, right?
Yeah, the checkerboard of the Masonic orders. So, okay, we can go to 128.36.
128.36.
He says, "You are free."
So it's the first one, 128.36. So you want to go all the way past all that stuff where he's interviewing in the circle? You want to look at 125?
You're right. Here,
let's check this out. Let's check out this because it has the double eagle.
Yeah, 124.41 actually. That one's important. So the tricorn hat, after we see that he's invited into the circle from Bob Hope, and he walks into the circle and they surround him. And this is one of the masks. This is the triangle with the eye in the pyramid. The eye in the triangle is the eye of Providence, and that is a huge symbol for Freemasonry. Freemasonry uses this. It's older than Freemasonry. They don't own the symbol, but they use it a lot. And it represents like an enlightened consciousness and like knowledge of occult power, or like a knowledge of occult wisdom. But it relates directly to Freemasonry. And we even see it on the back of our dollar bill. It's, and the dollar bill is all Freemason. And
it's in almost every federal courthouse. Go into every federal courthouse in the United States. You will see the back of the dollar bill. It'll tell you who really runs things.
Right.
But
and the lower, the pyramid underneath, the truncated pyramid, is a trapezoid. And the trapezoid is a satanic symbol in itself. So they're even more telling you what's going on, but we don't need to get into that. So basically this eye in the pyramid is making you think subconsciously of Freemasonry. And then we see now he's in the middle of the circle, and there's this tense music playing, and the red cloak is sitting in this chair where there's a crown like above his head, almost as if he's got a crown on his own head. But then as you go along, 125.44, the next one.
44, right
Yeah,
on.
there's not going to be any more nudity for a while, so we can just skip through like one to the next.
There we go.
So this is the back of the chair, and you kind of get a silhouette of it, and the camera is moving in widdershins counterclockwise around the circle. So it's reminiscent of when the ritual was happening. The camera was going around the outside of the circle in the the widdershins fashion. Excuse my dog's drinking water here. I'll mute for a second.
But there's all this kind of symbolism, the back of the chair. And just for people to know that these masks are very specific. They're specific to a time and place. And it is Venetian royalty and that time. So these are all specific Venetian masks. I can't remember what they're called. But it was at that time, the Venetians, it was like a very weird society. They were at the top of their power. Venice was a kind of champion of trade and commerce in the Mediterranean, right?
Yeah, they were in the Silk Road, and they would like all the paint colors would come through there, and all the the Renaissance happened because of Venice, really. And but Venice, they had financial ruin over flower bulbs, the perennials, and tulips, and it killed their economy. And they ended up moving to England and taking over the financial before it was Venice, it was Phoenicia.
Venice is actually derived from the word Phoenician.
Exactly.
It is definitely derived. So.
Yeah. It's a long line of these seafaring traders that created banking and have been enslaving people through the admiralty law of the sea, and Jordan Maxwell and stuff gets into that. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to dive into. So 120, we can skip to the next one.
Where are we at? 120.
Yeah, ermine is associated with the king and royalty. Exactly. Like the ermine, the king and royalty were only able to, they were the only ones able to pay for that. It was very rare.
This is interesting that you notice this because, Kubrick's very careful, and here he is occulting Bill, right?
Exactly. He's literally occulting Bill. So the camera has a point of view, and like the way we look at stars and stuff. So the chair is eclipsing Bill's face, and it's making you look at the back of that chair. And even though it's blurred, this guy Nido makes a comment. He already gets it. The back of that chair is the double eagle. And if you skip ahead, we'll get a better look at that chair.
Okay, let's go back of chair. Just doing this on StreamYard's a little. You have to click through 5 times. There's the back chair again.
Fine. Oh yeah, so that I was showing how it's moving through, and it's moving to the left. We're going widdershins, and you got to click it 5 times again. The next one, sorry.
So this is kind of a depiction of the back of the chair, right?
Right. So now we see clear view. It's a crown on top of a double eagle, and they're looking in 2 separate directions, and that is the double eagle is used as an emblem by the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. It was introduced in France in early 1760s as an emblem of the Knight Kadash degree, also known originally as Illustrious and Grand Commander of the White and Black Eagle, Grand Elect Kadash. Double-headed eagle motif is one of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry's most recognizable and iconic symbols. And if you look at the cover of Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, it has the double-headed eagle on it with the crown on top of the double-headed eagle. So that is free. And especially after we were primed with that image of the triangle with the eye in it, this is Freemasonry. This guy is the Grand Elect Knight Kadash.
Oh,
You know,
wow. So
of
he's specific. He's specifically a titled member of the Masonic order. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. In heraldry and vexillology, the double-headed eagle is a charge associated with the concept of empire.
Wow.
The eagle itself has long been a symbol of power and domination because it's like it sees everything. It has,
sees it from above, sees the
from
long
above.
range, right?
Exactly. Like God's eye view, like the eye in the pyramid is above everything, looking in through the cut in creation, looking in the triangular cut, like looking through. So it was used by the Holy Roman Empire. The double-headed Reichsadler was in the coat of arms of many German cities and aristocratic families. In the early modern period, after the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire in 1806, the double-headed eagle was retained by the Austrian Empire. It's a Central European multinational great power from 1804 to 1867, created by proclamation out of the realms of the Habsburgs. The Habsburgs are the current ruling class of the ruling family of the English crown. Habsburg is
it's Saxe-Coburg.
Oh, that's Saxe-Coburg. Yeah, right.
Saxe-Coburg.
I'm wrong. Yeah, right.
They had to change their name during World War One because it was too German.
Exactly, because they are German, right? So this served as the coat of arms of the German Confederation.
It's also Imperial Russia uses the double-headed eagle. I think even with the crown on it, you can go back and look at the Romanov dynasty has the same. And if you want to have a bad day, go back and look at the Romanov dynasty and the Saxe-Coburg Gotha. They're cousins.
Right.
They look almost like kissing. They're out of the same gene pool.
Right. And that's why their heraldry is similar, because like their families are the same. So they have the same symbols that they use. So like these Eastern European families, like that relates to the guy who says, I'm Hungarian, the guy down at the party who's dancing. And
that funny name, right?
The guy's name is Ziegler, like the Khazarians and like they all come from that area, and they
Eastern European kind of dark stuff, Dracula.
Yeah, everybody, and like the royal family says that they trace their family back to the Vlad the Impaler.
Right. No, that's a known fact.
It's true.
They trace themselves through Vlad the Impaler and the Old Testament.
Right.
So they have a completely different. Do you know that they sit on like the Testament stone on their throne, and that stone supposedly comes from Israel? So they have like a literal stone that goes through the Scottish kings to the British throne that ties them together. It's called the.
That's where they're when they are ordained, they sit on it when they get their crown, I think.
Yeah, no, that's right. So the most recent queen was crowned over the stone. I wish somebody can find that online.
The city of
Scone, that's right. I think
the Stone of Scone, and the city of London is based on a 1 mile radius around a stone, also, which is very interesting. So this is they're looking up at the maiden. The maiden is saying, Mandy, who chose him in the mask, she's saying that she will redeem him, which is saying that she will take on the negative effects of his bad actions, right? And he says, the red cloak is like, you know what you're doing here? And she says, yep. And okay. And then they take her away the mask that takes her away is a plague mask. And those are like, it has a long beak, and that like subconsciously we relate that to death. And the doctors and the plague doctors would stuff it with flowers so they wouldn't have to smell the dead bodies, So that's why
that was how they didn't understand the plague. They thought it came through vapors, so they put in herbs and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And that's how they thought they avoided getting
right.
sick.
It's silly, like
it didn't work.
Putting a mask on doesn't help you from getting sick, but we don't need to talk about that.
Well, that's interesting. Interesting correlation.
Yeah. So, and okay. So moving on, he he's set free. And so he doesn't realize the real negative effects that he almost had come down on him. And they also threatened his family. So so then he goes home, he's safe at home. We can skip over that.
So she gets taken away. He goes, here's safe at home. He locks his door, right? He thinks he's safe, right?
Yeah. He locks his door, and then he goes and he visits Helena, and she's sleeping safely. So now back to the regular world, back, out of the fantasy realm, and he's locking his door, like, oh, safe again. Right. And so he looks at Helena, and he's like glad that he didn't get her in danger and whatever. And you can see room 237 will teach us this, but the words above in that painting, it says sex. The black of the black lines kind of spell out sex.
It's a subliminal.
Yes, exactly. And she has a teddy bear on the post of her bed that's like straddling the post, and he's got like what almost looks like a rainbow on his shirt. And that relates to the rainbow fashions, and we're going to be going there in a second. And she's got
the other thing that we didn't mention about what the ritual is that it is a magic circle, right? So they're inside the magic circle. I think that's important once we get to
and when the ritual was happening, there was there was nudity, so we skipped through. But the women were in a circle, and the light from above formed a circle on the carpet, and the red cloak guy was walking in a circle within the women space. And so this is like a cone, like the spirits are above viewing, and that's so above the circle is like the tip of the cone, so I guess that's what they're pushing their energy up to that point above where the light is. So anyway, so we'll move to the next big
here's another teddy bear right here.
Yes, exactly. There's another teddy bear in the window. So we know that she likes teddy bears, and that's part of that's been programmed into her. So Alice dreams of being at the orgy. Like she has a dream in her subconscious that where she was fornicating with other men and laughing at him, because of the pain that he's going to feel over that. So it's kind of showing that in her mind, she her memory is bubbling out as a dream, that because those memories are locked in a different partition of her mind, because she is an SRA victim. She can't recall that normally. It'll come out in dreams, or what, like we said earlier, when she smokes cannabis, it's kind of it percolates out. So this a lot of times the programming will break down unless they have continual contact and triggers that keep them in the hypnotic state. So yes, she's an SRA victim. If you watch the earlier episode, you'll learn
right.
that.
And you mentioned that the likeness of the very important introductory scene of her wearing a black negligee,
yes,
alludes to dropping of the black cloaks in the ritual. Right.
She drops her black
in the mirror.
Yeah, Alice in front of the looking glass drops her robe, a black robe or black negligee, like you said. But the way she drops it to the floor is the same way that the maidens drop theirs. And the maidens at the ritual are wearing high heels, and they drop their black garment the same way that she does. So that in her mind does it the same, because it's normal for her, because she's programmed to do so.
Because she's done it in the past, is the suggestion, right?
Exactly. So
so they really, and Kubrick or whoever did this writing with him, they thought everything through, man.
Totally.
There were correlations that in time went back to the earlier things, Ziegler and her, all that stuff, and those two old men. So they bookended everything. Like they knew the intro to the book and the end.
Yeah.
I mean, intro to the movie, sorry.
I wonder if I gave you screenshots from. Yes, I did. I did.
Yeah, I have
gave
everything at 145.
We'll get to that, but the Lolita screenshots in the beginning, there are like Lolita scenes relate to this movie.
Okay, let's go to the Lolita. What should we show?
We don't have to.
Sounds? Okay.
Yeah, Quilty. We'll do that later when we get to the billiard room, because then that's where it relates exactly. Okay. So here he's re-entering Rainbow Fashions, and this is the next day in the daytime, when it's not like Saturday night. Is like Sunday morning or something, where everybody's trying to act normal again. Like it's not the Eros.
Ritual's over, right?
Yeah, the ritual's over, and the light of day is happening. So he's going back into the place above the rainbow, number 10. So we'll skip to the next one, and we see the top hat hanging. There's a top hat, which the elites would wear top hats back in the day.
Right there it is, tuxedos.
Yeah,
fancy dreams or fancy dress. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a rainbow bag.
Yep, rainbow on his bag.
Oh, yep. There's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah. And the words rainbow is like gold, like it's anyway. So next slide, he's walking into the door, and we kind of touched on this last time about the security of this place. I mean, he's walking through this gate, and it's like no big deal to him. And we see rainbow written backwards. That's satanic there. And we see, he's in the cage, and he's like, you can see the tension in his head, like in his face. He looks, anyway, the door is open on the cage. He's stressed out a little bit. Like, why is like it? I think that relates to the cage, him being in this cage. So this security is obvious. Like, it only makes sense when you know that this Milich guy is running a blackmail operation with pedophiles.
Right.
So that's why the security.
It's incredible. Like, this is just precedes Epstein and all the stuff we know. Totally. The exposure of Savile and stuff.
Yeah.
And just for people to know, also promote, I'm doing a Savile show. There's a 2-part documentary on Netflix right now. So me and Philip Fairbanks are going to take that show apart and tell people what they left out about Savile. There's a lot they left out.
Yeah, they do that. Like, they'll make a movie and whitewash everything so that you don't.
It's a limited hangout, right? So they say, "Oh yeah, he was terrible."
Yeah,
but they don't know how terrible he was. He was.
Yeah, and who he was connected to. They probably
he could walk right into Buckingham Palace. They wouldn't check his bags or anything. He could walk right in.
He told a story about sneaking a little girl into Buckingham Palace. On TV, he said that. He's like,
the thing is that he hinted at it constantly.
Yeah.
Savile hinted at what he was doing, and then like nothing came out until after he died, I think.
Yeah, and that just goes to show the kind of power, and like if you no matter how evil you are, if you go along with the system, then they protect you. All the even to your death, and then once you're dead, then they can let it go and whatever. Who cares? But like Scientology, look at what Scientology does for Tom Cruise. Like, he's totally gay, and he's got all these weird, like, same thing with the other.
I think he's bisexual, but
well, something, whatever he is,
he's bisexual. I mean, there's a lot of stories about that guy. But
what I mean is that like Scientology makes it look like he has this life of like normal guy who, makes a baby with normal actress, and but then like you learn like they create this world for him, and he's like he's like a child in his mind, and they keep his consciousness in a cage, sort of like it's really, they just they satiate him with everything, and then they tell him he's perfect, and they feed his ego, and then he just lives in this la la land where he doesn't question everything.
Well, really they have the collateral on him. They probably know all of his stuff because he revealed it to him. So it is a fascinating overlay with this movie, because Cruise and Kidman, allegedly through her dad, both have this legacy. It's off the charts.
Yes.
This guy went to the top. He knows the guy who's running Scientology, which is, I mean,
Right.
we get the Satanism through L. Ron Hubbard and the mind control. It's off the charts.
Yeah.
This whole thing, when you really
And
unpack,
I think that Kubrick chose them because they're Scientologists.
right? She's a Scientologist too, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think so. I think she has to be or whatever, but the important thing to know that is really the main part of the esoteric story is that Helena is Vivian Kubrick. And Vivian Kubrick
was the daughter, right?
Was the daughter of Stanley, who actually in 2001, when Haywood Floyd is calling home and speaking to that little girl, talking about getting her a Bush baby for Christmas, that little girl is Vivian Kubrick. And if you look at Helena, they look the same as that little girl in 2001. And it's kind of like Kubrick is her dad. Like she will always be his little girl. When he thinks of her, he thinks of that little girl in 2001. That cute little, yay, daddy, I'm going to come home for Christmas, And so she was going to do the soundtrack for Eyes Wide Shut. She was involved in this movie. During the filming of the movie, she gets taken away by the cult of Scientology. She moves to California. Now she's a Scientologist. And I don't know if she's still, but she was put under the trance and taken away to Hollywood. And I think that he was mourning that, and he was showing in his movie that his little girl was stolen by the cult of Scientology. I think that's what this movie is saying to us. It's like it fits his literal life. She did go to his funeral. She didn't go to her sister's funeral. When she did go to his funeral, she was like not talking to people, and she had a handler that was there. It was very awkward and very
That's
weird.
very common in Scientology. Have somebody overlooking you for your own benefit.
Yeah, your own benefit. Yeah, it's for your benefit so that we don't have to torture you later.
Right. Psychologically torment you.
Exactly.
Give you the Omega. I think in Scientology at the higher levels, they put in MK Ultra Omega programming where you kill yourself.
That's probably
I have to double
in.
check that. Yeah, but
I'm sure that the people that they can do that to, they do. The Scientology is devious. They have a drug rehab program called Narcanon, where they give people all this good food, and they have them on the beach and stuff. Then they give them this programming, like they try to teach them how to use a toothbrush again. They rewire their brains for like 5 or 6 months or whatever, and they charge huge money. It's like,
imagine Scientology was notorious for having thousands of front groups that people would not know that the Scientology was at its core.
Right.
So that's a whole nother story. But the Scientology in this, and I think it goes back to the first show that we did where you talked about the naval officer, right?
Yes.
And that, you're right. So L. Ron Hubbard he called it the Sea Org. That was his elite. That was kind of like his SS his SS of Scientology.
Exactly.
Which is based upon all this naval stuff. And he was called Commodore Hubbard or whatever. That's what he was. It's ridiculous. He wasn't that evil. And you can read my book, Children of the Beast. Some of the stuff he did, like he would do rituals, like lying on a girl, staring at her eyes while she was naked for an hour.
That's
a true story. I think that's what the person alleged.
It's a deep well of rabbit hole to go down. But if you think about it, if you're in international waters, there are no laws. And these people that sign up to the Sea Org, they sign up for 1 billion years.
Right.
You know, their soul has to reincarnate and keep being slave. And they have to like clean the floor with a toothbrush. You know, they do like menial jobs and they get yelled at and made fun of, and they eat scraps of food they don't, you know. It's like it's like,
all that stuff's in there.
you know, it's torture. It's like you know, it's like what the military does, but worse, you know. But anyway, you know, so yes, I think Kubrick was layering in those elements of naval officer because that's
think you're
who Hubbard sees himself as. This, you know, he's this, you know, his ego is like, I'm a naval officer because he's got a boat and he's tooting around in the ocean. Because everybody follows his orders, then he can imagine whatever he wants. He can say he's the emperor.
He was known as the source. He was the source of all knowledge. Like there wasn't anybody else. So
silly,
he was like a great cult leader. Like he was going to smash. He literally said, "I'm going to smash my way into history." And there is Crowley with him. Like he had speeches on Crowley and lectures on Crowley. So he knew. And his son said he would fondle like Crowley's writings before going out to speeches. So
and if you know about
Jack Parsons, I
wonder if he was fondling specifically White Stains, that book. You know, we all know about what that book's about. Like Jesus,
you never know.
Yeah,
I know he knew of magic in theory and practice. So.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like
I knew people. There's all kinds of stories about him. He was probably a real sorcerer. Like he saw himself as a sorcerer.
I would say literally
not just a mind control cult leader, but something even beyond that.
Well, because he does control people's minds, I would say he is a sorcerer. Technically, you know, that's what they do. Is like the dark occult controls the minds of the sheep. You know, that's really how they get their will done in the world, is by making you do it. You know, they tell you a suggestion lie and you go along with it, and that, you know, then you do their will in the world, and then that makes them think that they're king of the world. Because so that's what
how many political leaders are actually sorcerers? I mean, honestly,
I would say a lot of them.
There's a lot more than you would think. I think one of them was I can't remember his name. He was the American president, making all kinds of pointing to his forehead, like all kinds of Masonic signs. It was who was the guy after, you know, before Coolidge, who died in office? It was McKinley. Yes, McKinley. If you go see McKinley's burial spot, totally Masonic, and it shows all his Masonic lineage. Like he was 33rd level of this, 43. The guy was a full-on Mason, making like hand signs you would see today somebody in Hollywood make. You know,
well, and if you go to the Masonic graveyards, like I lived in a town called Newburyport, Massachusetts, for a lot of years. Like I graduated from there, and they have graveyards there that, like, the graveyard is all Masonic. It's all like obelisks and the Eye of Providence and the G and the square and compass on like everything, and they have tunnels in that graveyard, and I believe those tunnels connect to the wider system of tunnels in the town where they did smuggling of opium and slaves and stuff, and the, you know, during the fight with the East Indian Trading Company, or the and Newburyport, Mass is where Albert Pike is from. You know, it all
really that's even crazier.
That's
who read Eliphas Levi, and that influences the Klan. I just read that again in Painted Black when I was talking to Carl Raschke. Like that was so. And you see, like, Levi, I mean, Crowley wasn't influenced by Levi. Crowley thought he was the reincarnation of Levi.
Just like Albert Pike thought he was the same thing. They were both like under the trance of that dude. He really put a zap on their brains.
Heard that. My understanding is the whole structure of Klan is right out of Eliphas Levi. Like he didn't even retool anything; he just ripped it off. But I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
and same with Morals and Dogma. So
yes, exactly. And you know, the deification of the Baphomet and the Lucifer idea, like all of that is in there, and it's all stamped with the double-headed eagle with the crown. You know, it's like that's the logo for that type of ideology. You know. And that dude, you know, so
it brings it all back to this whole story. This whole story is much more than just like a simple movie narrative. Yeah. It's much deeper than that.
Yeah, it's a revelation.
It's a revelation of a lot of stuff. Yeah, Like, I'm not surprised. We don't know what the original cut was, but the original cut must have been something else because what's left is crazy enough.
It's like, so remember how I told you in the first one when Ziegler looks at his watch and he says another hour, and he's like, another hour? They repeat it, and then I skipped ahead 1 hour and it matched up. I think that is showing us that it hasn't been cut. I don't think anything in the middle was cut because it wouldn't line up so perfectly as it does. If you take a certain scene and then skip it ahead an hour or back an hour, those moments line up with each other significantly. And I think if they did cut anything, they would have had to cut it off at the end or the beginning. But the middle piece,
I mean, they didn't cut it like because it was nudity, because there's tons of nudity in it, and I think there was the original cut, right? Wasn't the cut? Didn't the original cut take out the fornication scenes? I don't remember. I thought that was the original.
Yeah, there were like a couple scenes where they just like they just cut a couple of the scenes where he's walking through and he sees all the orgy happening, and like I think they were like trying to go for NC-17 and then they went for R, and
that's
because they were trying, because the more sexy it was, the more people would go watch it, you know, because everybody thought it was going to be this, like the whole thing was going to be like The Ritual, you know, but really it's, you know, it
really wasn't.
Yeah,
it really wasn't. They tricked people because it was really only about 5 or 10 minutes, if that.
Right. And then, you know, in all honesty,
that happens all the time in marketing films.
It's in the ratio of life. It's not, your whole life isn't going to be all sex all the time anyway. Like, no matter how much you try, it's, you know, it's really only a little fraction. You know? Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, getting back to the film, I mean, the context is very important because it really does inform what's going on in this film. I interpret this picture as those shoes all look the same in the background.
Yeah,
like they're just those are the shoes for The Ritual. So this guy's giving the same stuff to the same people to go to The Ritual.
He serves the same elite that Bill Harford serves as a doctor. You know, Bill Harford goes to the gentleman who's dying in the beginning, and his daughter kisses Bill, and that guy has like checkerboard in his house, and he's got the fleur-de-lis on his wallpaper. So these people are in the, you know, the working elite, not the super top.
They're the servitors.
The server guys, yeah. And if you skip to
this is even more
146:17.
Well, yeah, let's do that. That's a good one.
You'll see Milich's face up close. Look at the scar on his head. There's like a lump and a shiny scar right up in his widow's peak. So that shows like he's been beaten into submission before. This guy, you know, they use a carrot and a stick against their dudes in order to control them. And if you look at his we'll skip through 146:36, Bill and Lily are shaking hands over the counter.
Right. And so earlier he's screaming at her with the two Asian guys.
Right. Like,
he's like saying that she's
insane. Yeah. And now everybody's happy, and she's shaking Bill's hand, a formal meeting. Oh, say hello to the good doctor. Right. And the next, as they keep, you know, as they're still shaking hands and click to the next one, we'll see the it's 46:41 is the next one.
46:41. Yeah. The two guys magically appear, right?
Two men appear out of the magic room in the back where the red lighting, and they're wearing their street clothes. They're gentlemen. And you can see in their eyes that they see Bill, and Bill's not part of the whole scenario. And they're like, uh-oh, this guy knows what's going on. And so you can see the tension. And Bill sees that these guys are, you know, why didn't he call the cops? Right. We'll skip through, I guess.
Let's go to the next one. Let's see the
The
next.
gentleman,
And they're very polite to each other, right? Thank you, Mr. Milich.
yeah, they say thank you, and he says, I'll call you soon. Like it's a regular occurring thing. It's a norm, and they click through again, and you see
she's
Lily.
in doll makeup, right?
Yeah, Lily is like plastered with makeup. She looks like a doll, like a China doll. And it's like a zoom in of her face. 146.59 is the next one.
I just passed through. I just went through.
Okay.
But 147. So then he's on. So this is the theme of pedophilia that's also in this film.
Exactly.
This is part of it.
Right.
She's dressed up like a doll, a China doll or whatever.
She's like a little doll, and he said, Bill says, "Hey, you were going to call the cops," and the guy says, "Yeah, things change." And then he says, "If you ever need anything at all, it need not be a costume." And then it's like a zoom in of her face. She's looking him in the eye, like, so that was a prop.
That's the inside hint, right?
Right. That was, you can have this little girl just like those guys did. If you want, you can call anytime. And this is the look. He gets blank stare. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't do anything. He just stares. And I guess he turns and walks away. And then the movie goes on.
Right.
That girl is trafficked. She's a child prostitute under mind control by this pimp. He's obviously not her father. It's evil situation, and Bill knows. He learns the truth of it all, and he just stares blankly.
He's like in shock. He's like in shock about. He's had a rough 24 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
It's only going to get worse.
That's right.
It's only going to get worse. So he's like the symbol of the standard Joe. He's the symbol to Harrison Ford. He's like the naive.
Well, but he works for the elite, but he's the dumb guy. He, in his off time, he's wearing Uggs and he's drinking beer and he's watching football. So like that's Kubrick saying this is the beer and football guy. That's his level of consciousness. Meanwhile, these guys have like ornate parties and like do the
what we saw
trafficking. Yes, exactly. So this dude, Bill returns to the ritual house, and they give him a letter that says his name on it. They know his name, and he says, "You need to stop now, because you're in danger if you don't."
Right. So he's getting warned. Yeah. So this is like the secret society element. So they're telling you, like, "Hey, you're dabbling in something deeper than you think."
Yes. And so he returns to Domino, and he learns. I mean, we don't need to go too far into this, but he learns that she's HIV positive. So that's like a moment where he is like he's avoiding danger, another brush with danger, just like he had where the night before, where he almost got abducted or raped, or who knows what would have happened at the ritual if Mandy didn't redeem him.
Right. And she's another red-haired woman, right?
She's another Scarlet
woman. Let's keep going.
Yeah, and I think that she and Domino are both hookers for the same cult. Gotcha. So they're probably put up in that apartment so that they can do their job,
Right. I mean, it's the same thing Epstein did. Like he put all these victims in apartments and stuff so they could abuse them. Like they they don't know the full how deep Epstein went with the rituals and stuff like that. But I think it was Giuffre said that Maxwell did have a black kind of cloak in her closet.
Yeah.
I don't know about how deep it got.
That figures. I've heard all kinds of stories about people being at rituals in black cloaks. You know what I mean? Like, and Kubrick is just showing us, like, what he's probably witnessed these things. I think that Kubrick has witnessed these things personally, and him showing us this in the film was the transgression. I think they're like, you weren't supposed to
You
tell
don't
people.
understand because the people who did this, they know they're separated from the rest of the herd, or the
Yes.
what do they call them? The profane.
Yes.
So then they're like, you can't show this to the profane. We're in our own
Exactly.
world. We live in our own mindset. And he's like,
Right. And as Jay Weidner will say, that his theory is that they killed him because they wouldn't let him release it the way that he wanted to, because in his contract he would have final cut of the final edit abilities, but they wanted to commandeer the final edit, but it was against his contract, so they had to kill him. But I think it's more of him.
He wasn't like a spring chicken though. He wasn't expected to die. He died suddenly of a heart attack, right?
Yes, but they have a heart attack gun.
True.
And we learned that from the Church Commission, I think.
Committee, right?
So above his head here in this photo is 237. That's the number on his on the door behind him. So that's a callback to The Shining, room 237, where the fear was. So he's being followed, and then we get to Emilio at the newsman.
Right, but in this kind of ersatz, kind of fake environment, like they didn't try to make it real. So I think they're trying to suggest kind of this,
like it's a dream,
like a dream or a theater kind of feel to it. I think that backdrop is important. So
well, the name of the book is A Dream Story.
There you go.
So maybe this whole thing is a dream, you know.
Well, that's what happens at the end. You weren't there last night.
Yeah,
You're misremembering. It was a dream. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Forget what you saw.
Yep.
It's like a very elite kind of like a mind control America, program. Like, oh, that didn't happen.
Right.
No, you didn't see Building 7 drop.
Exactly.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. Right. We all saw it with our own eyes. We heard
tell
everybody say it was.
I didn't tell you the vaccine was mandated.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was your own volition. We didn't coerce you to do that.
No coercion.
So this is in the last episode you showed the FDR dies, Kubrick's first image that got him hired at Look magazine.
Yeah. I showed that last time, right?
Yeah, this is a callback to that. This gentleman.
Oh, right.
The guy behind the counter is Emilio, who's Kubrick's like personal assistant and has been for like
forever, right?
30, 40 years. And it's like Kubrick's best friend. And it's great to have him like, in there. And he's playing the part of the guy in Kubrick's original FDR Dies, that photograph.
Bring that up just real quick.
Okay. Yeah. So it kind of like wraps up his whole career. Like it was his first image that got him hired at Look magazine as a teenager. And then this is his last film in his, when he's
wow, that's really cool. So he's putting little Easter, what do they call them? Easter eggs or something like that in it?
Yes, Easter egg, exactly. Yeah, there's the image. FDR dies, or FDR dead, and the solemn mourning of the gentleman behind the counter, and the way it's framed perfectly, like it's a frame within a frame, and he's got these squares around him, and the way that it's just perfectly
right, so
anyway, so there he is, and there's Emilio, and there's the guy in the background on the left that's following him. And as we skip through to the next one, we'll see the newspaper says "lucky to be alive," as opposed to FDR dead.
Let's go here. Let's see if I can get this going a little faster.
Okay. No, you're good.
It's just taking. I have to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get it on. So there's the. You can see it says "lucky to be alive" right there.
Yes, lucky. He gets the New York Post. Lucky to be alive. And that goes along with the tension of the moment, what's happening, and but it also
it's the threat of death, the threat of too much knowledge, all that stuff is kind of
right. But it's also the mirror image of FDR dead, lucky to be alive, And okay, so here the painting on the wall is a pre-Raphaelite of Ophelia, the woman in white with the flowers in her hair. she's like gonna drown herself. So there's a maiden who is dying.
So it's like a symbol of the upcoming
of the
sacrifice.
revelation in the newspaper about how the maiden is dead. Oh look, it's Ophelia. Like Ophelia is famous for dying because she kills herself by drowning. And if you skip to the next image,
Which I have here.
they have.
I mean, it's incredible what he puts in here because they know all the symbology.
Yes, and there in the frame is butterflies. So that relates to Butterfly, the monarch programming of the SRA, satanic ritual abuse, trauma-based mind control programming. Ophelia was a butterfly, and they encase butterflies, they kill them, and then they use a needle to stab them on the cardboard, and then they frame them up like it's a dead butterfly. So that's what he's going to learn about in the paper, and that's what he's going to see in the hospital.
Right. So they're telling him symbolically what's coming. Yes. But they also make sure to put this scene into a cafe. So he's kind of like the outsider with the inside knowledge, just watching the day-to-day profane yip yap about.
Right. Yes. And so we get a close-up of the thing, the article. Let's see if I got it written down. And I got notes in like every.
But I know what this is. So like Vitaly is one of his other friends. Like Vitaly's worked with Kubrick forever.
Yeah, Vitaly is actually the guy Red Cloak. He's the guy behind the
mask. So he's the voice of the Red Cloak.
Yes, he's the one, and he works with Kubrick. He's like executive producer of he was actually Lord Bullington in the one that he did the film, the Irish guy who Barry Lyndon. He was Lord Bullington, the angry stepson of Ryan O'Neal, and Ryan O'Neal actually during the filming of this filming of Barry Lyndon, Ryan O'Neal was kind of forced on Kubrick. He had to choose from a short list of big actors, and he just chose Ryan O'Neal. And Ryan O'Neal happens to be a pedophile who raped his own daughter, and his own daughter was friends with Vivian Kubrick, and his own daughter was jealous that he had sex with Vivian Kubrick. And Kubrick was so mad that kicked him off the set immediately, and because Kubrick learned of this and fired him immediately. And he was supposed to narrate the movie, but they got a different narrator because of this incident. And this is revealed in Tatum O'Neal's book.
So Tatum O'Neal admits that she's had sex with her father?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He brought her to Studio 54 when she was 10 or whatever.
She was I think she won an Oscar when she was really young, right?
Right. And he was jealous of that. He was
jealous of his daughter. Yeah, he's an
evil person. Yes. Yeah. Evil person. And Kubrick, and the snakes in Hollywood still got got his family, even though he moved to London and tried to get away from all that pedophilia. The snakes still got in there. And I think it's terrible. I think that Kubrick was not condoning any of that type of activity, and I think he wanted to keep his family safe. And I think that the fact that Vivian Kubrick was being exposed to that type of thing at such a young age, I think that might have led to her being susceptible to the Scientology programming, which stole her away in the future. I think it's a long process.
It's really just incredible that their real life is mirroring.
Yeah.
So that could be the psychological kind of gyre or furnace that made Kubrick want to put this together, because he's pissed
Yes.
about it, right?
Yes.
So that's the core of his
And it's like
artistic impulse. Yeah.
in the beginning, it was he just wanted to reveal in a dream way what the elite ritual is like, and if you see the German television version of Dream Story,
Traum Novelle, right?
Traum Novelle, that was depicted, and it was a way of showing the elite party because it's enticing, and it's like, the people want to learn about this, and it's like sexy and lurid and like, occult. And so it has like I think Kubrick saw that, and he also used elements of that in his film. But I think that in the beginning it was just exposing the elite ritual and the kind of people that are there. But I think now he's putting his own story, like as an artist, he's relating these things to his own life, and his own life seeps through. Like, art really is like a reflection of your subconscious. If you do art well and you lose yourself in the process, you'll find in the finished product that your subconscious influenced it and turned it into something. It's like a mirror of your subconscious. And I think that because he puts so much of himself into his work, I think that like, because it was such a conflict in him, and his daughter moved away to California, like she is under the spell of this cult.
Group, right? We're the way. You're going to be with us forever. But the other interesting thing is that he didn't feel like when he wrote a story, he wasn't beholden to the text. Like Clockwork Orange finishes differently.
Yes.
This is different than Traum Novelle. So the
Shining is way different. Yeah. And they, and like I said before, he has a contempt for narrative. He's creating a dream, he's creating in your mind the way the movies are. Like the 2-hour movie or 1 hour and a half movie is kind of 2 cycles of REM sleep. Like we go through cycles of, rapid eye movement, and then like where we go like deep sleep to lighter sleep and then deep again through these cycles while we sleep. And the normal time span is about 45 to 50 minutes for each cycle. So going through 2 cycles for your brain to watch a movie is the same way that your brain will uptake a dream, and you can remember a movie like you remember a dream. And it's kind of, it affects your subconscious in that way, like where it can just kind of seep in. Okay, this is great.
So just to give you an interlude, there was a naked corpse. She was dead.
Right.
He read about her death. He went to the hospital. She had red hair too.
Right.
So she dies, and he confirms that she's dead. So it wasn't like he did it, but he's obviously having a bad day. Like he seems totally stressed out. He wasn't before, right? He's starting to figure something's going wrong.
Right. He's seeing that the real danger has real effects. Like she actually did die, and he recognized her from the party, even though she was wearing a mask. He sees her body and he recognizes her, but she's cold and white and deceased. So then he gets called to Ziegler's place. He gets a phone call and he says, "Now? Oh, I have to see Ziegler now." And then he's like, "Okay." And then he goes, and this is his arrival at Ziegler's house, and this is in Ziegler's billiard room. And right here we get a full shot of the scene, and we see the table is red, and that's unlike most common color for billiard tables is cyan. It's like a mix of blue and green, which is on the color wheel of light. That's the exact opposite of red, is cyan. Mm-hmm. So this is showing the exact opposite of the common table. So that is in your mind, it creates a schism. You see the red table and you're like, that's not normal. And so that creates a focus on that table, Right. And we see the portraits above are in frame, and your William Ramsey Investigates is a little bit over the head of that dude, but that's okay. It's fine. Just leave it.
See if I can take it down.
We can see in the head of the table over the fireplace mantle is a gentleman with a tricorn hat in his hand.
Wow, there you go.
So that is the ancestor of Ziegler. And it only makes sense that he's wearing the mask of his ancestor, and that mask has been at those rituals through
It's handed down. Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So you're the next one, kid.
Yeah, so he's the one who wears a tricorn hat mask now, and that guy in the painting is probably the first guy that wore the tricorn hat mask, you know.
That's
And there's his hunting dog, like attendant, like listening to him. So that
you got the ship in the background too, so that suggests the shipping maritime theme.
yeah, the Phoenicians, right? And how they own everything from trade and so that is revelation of his connection to the ancestors. And then we think about the heraldic shield. On the door is
Right.
the rosette.
Yeah, that's the Rosicrucian rose. Right?
Yeah, the Rosicrucian rose, and that is also a symbol of Inanna Ishtar. The five petaled rose with the dot with the thing in the center is Inanna, just like the 8-pointed star at the party. So and Inanna Ishtar is like the feminine version of the Baal,
Right.
like
So it's like
Ashtaroth is like the consort of Baal, and Ashtaroth is the same as Inanna Ishtar. So it's like the feminine side of their bull god, Baal. So even though Baal is like just the term for Lord, it's kind of been turned into a god over the years. Like they've attributed things to it. So, but anyway, so he says here, just knocking a few balls around, and that's like what he was doing at the ritual. He was knocking his balls around.
he's just kind of like he's alluding to it, right?
Yeah. So like that is like a callback to what the ritual, and then on that red carpet is the red pool table. So then he knocks the pool cue ball like twice on the table, knock knock, and we learned this from room 237 that the knock on the red pool table is the same as Red Cloak knocking his staff on the red carpet.
Wow. Right. So he's auditorially referencing that.
Right. And like that links your mind to the red carpet is the red pool table. And then you think, oh, the red carpet had a balcony with the tricorn hat man looking down. And that's the same as the portraits up on the wall. The portraits are looking down on the red carpet of this pool table.
Wow.
So like if you
it's reenacting the ritual sequence in the same kind of art or design. I'm pretty sure these green glass light posts are used somewhere else in this film too. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I remember seeing those in one of the pictures.
Yeah, and they're like a truncated pyramid too, right. Like we were talking about Satanism, right? Being the symbol. So he says, "I don't think you realize what kind of trouble you were in." He's like telling him really, and then in the next scene he says, the people, like who they are.
Think they were, right?
Who do you think they were? I'm not going to tell you who they were, but if I did tell you, it wouldn't sleep so well at night. And that, and then we see full frame, we see those paintings. So those people in the portraits are probably the ancestors of the people that were at just literally with the tricorn hat. He's under the dog framed, like his head is directly under that painting. Right. So like that's relating that painting to him directly. And the other portraits are probably other members of that type of ritual. And he says, I'm not going to tell you their names, but Kubrick is showing us in the frame of the shot visually who they are. And then earlier he gives us heraldic shields to look at. And if we can decipher what families those heraldic shields are, we'll probably narrow it down some. But like the Rothschild house that they filmed that in,
Right.
the Mentmore Towers, that place was used as the first portrait gallery ever. It was famous as the first portrait gallery. And then if you look at now we can go and look at the Lolita at the beginning of Lolita. There's a table also in this scene of Lolita in the very beginning.
Is it the pieces of furniture or kills Quilty or what is it?
We can go through them all. We can go through them. Like there's only like 5 or 6, right? There's
11.
11 shit. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I don't know.
Here's the intro to Lolita is the house, right?
Okay. Yeah, the house is this huge, ornate building, just like the Rothschild house that we just saw. This is another big house, just like that. And then he's driving it, like we don't know what's going on, but we see that's the scene, and we skip through, and we get and we learn more about, like, we see this huge ornate house. Everything is disheveled and messed up.
Right.
Like it was like all this wealth was given to somebody who doesn't care for it, and it's just, and that's like Kubrick telling us the state of the people that live in those houses nowadays. You know, the state of them mentally is disheveled and messed up. So then we see Quilty in a Roman robe playing ping pong, like he's got a toga, and he's at the ping pong table, and there's like drinks everywhere, empty, and like and they're across from each other at the table, like they're playing like their opponents. And what is going to be knocked between them is the little girl, you know, like one will have possession of her and then the other will have possession.
That's what they're symbolizing, right?
Yeah, in a way. And ping pong is like tennis, but smaller. It's like it's like
the kids' version of tennis.
The kids' version of tennis. And then earlier we saw the tennis rackets in Eyes Wide Shut is like courtly love for adults, but this is courtly love for teenagers, or not teenagers, but for little children. Right. So he's shot by the guy who was at the other end of the ping pong
shot
table.
By Humbert or whatever.
Yes, shot by Humbert, who yeah, we don't need to go into more about that, but he's crawling up the stairs. He's like escaping upstairs. And then when he gets up the stairs, he goes and he says, you can use them as pieces of furniture. He offers to Humbert, don't kill me. Do you want to witness executions? I'll let you witness executions. You can sit in the chair and you're going to be the only one that knows it's yellow. You can tell your friends. And then, would you like that? You just watch. And then if you look, the painting beside him earlier was on the floor by the front door on its side, but now it's upright next to him, and it's resting on a tiger.
Right.
And he's crawling behind this painting, and the woman riding on the tiger is Inanna. It's the cat beast of Crowley's lust card. It's the Scarlet Whore, you know. So and yeah, and so he's hiding behind this painting, and then as you click through, you'll see that Humbert
through here, right?
Shoots him through the painting. He's shooting the painting. He's shooting the people. He has aggression towards the evil families. Like, the guy is hiding behind the portrait. Right. And that's just like the people in the ritual the portrait reveals who they are. And then this is like Kubrick's hatred of them and wanting to kill them, depicted in a film. So the portraits are
important. He's telling a story through the symbols or whatever the portrait.
And if you remember the Hungarian, when he was dancing with Alice, he says, I have friends in the art game, talking about how it's an art game. And then he says, and he says, he was looking up in the corner and he says, I love Victor's art collection, and that's right. And we had that pregnant woman in the bathroom on Red, Paula, 6 months on Red, that she was, heavily, she was accentuated. She was a mirror of the drugged women on the couch. Right. But it was in the painting was prominent, and Ziegler's lips were right where a baby would be birthed from. And so his lips would be saying what is in the paintings, the pregnant message in the painting is going to come through Ziegler. And this is it happening. So we get a second look at this, and we get to see the corner that was cut off the last time. And it says that she has there's 2 lines that go all the way across that are repeated. So that makes you look at it again. So where it says drugs, in the middle column, and it says she has many and she has many. So it makes us focus on those, because it's a problem in your mind to be like, what, and you look at it because it's not normal. It repeats. So on the right side, it says she has many important friends in the fashion and entertainment worlds. That's revelatory. Many of the people in the fashion and entertainment worlds are the ones who are wearing those robes,
Right.
And and
there's Leon Vitali again. You said he's the voice, right?
His name is Leon Vitali. That she was, Leon Vitali was her handler, basically owned her or whatever. And Leon Vitali is the Red Cloak guy in real life, And like I said, he was the actor in Barry Lyndon, and he and Kubrick got along so well. Kubrick hired him for all the other movies after. They worked together very well in there. So he says the woman at the party, and if you look at the lamp, that lamp was the Orphic egg. It was like an egg, and it had 2 snakes on either side.
Go back.
Okay. It's the Orphic egg is like an egg with a snake wrapped around it, and this is an egg with 2 snakes. And I'm not gonna try to decipher exactly, but
you don't want to get too detailed on that one.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
So people can look up the Orphic egg.
Right.
But here's the total suicided, elite suiciding. Her door was locked from the inside. Police are happy. End of story. Right. The police are happy. That is so important. They had so many themes of these deaths in this. It tied that police are happy is very
right.
That's the way these people think, man.
They own the police. The police are all Masonic. They're all in the orders. If you look at the jesters and all, they're all policemen and lawyers and judges. It's so the police are happy because they were told to be happy. But he says the doors are locked from the inside. The police are happy. End of story. And he says the rest of it is in the paper. So he knows knowledge that the paper doesn't know. He knows that it was locked from the inside. How does he know this information? That's a key, because if you read the newspaper, it's not in the newspaper. It's locked from the inside. And it does say that the cops wanted to speak to the 2 men who dropped her off. They said that they don't think there was any foul play, but they still want to talk to those guys. So they're not really happy. But he says that, so the newspaper didn't reveal that information. He knows occulted hidden information about that death.
Wow, that's true. Yeah. I mean, the dialogue really is something else. And then he just basically threatens him.
Yes.
Life goes on.
Until it doesn't.
But
you know that, don't you?
He's smiling over his shoulder.
Yeah, look at Bill's face. He's tense and Like
Bill is
bully.
going through a brutal kind of reevaluation of everything he thinks he knows.
Yeah,
And this
apocalypse.
guy's happy as a clam.
Right. He says,
The
I got
Sidney
you under
Pollack
my
character's-
control.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like a domination, like dominance, like I own you, buddy, and you.
And he knows it.
Right. Yep.
And the boss knows it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really incredible. How do you interpret this scene with Alice with the mask?
I believe that she knows what it is and she's confronting him. Like she's slightly psychic because of the trauma of SRA enhances the psychic abilities of the youth that are victims. And I think that she knows more than, like, when he was with the hooker Domino, she called right at that moment. You know, like
she knew he was with her.
Yeah, and like she knows, like she knows more than she lets on, and she has this psychic ability that's almost, it's alluded to but not really definitely defined. But she's confronting him. She's got her 3 fingers there, like, you know, her marriage finger is plainly visible, and like she's saying, what is this? Like, it's, you know, but she knows what it is. She's been to those parties, you know.
She doesn't consciously know, but she knows
Yes.
there's some like other element of her mind.
Right. And if you know, the Red Cloak told him, never speak about this to anyone, or there'll be great consequences for you and your family. Well, he told her everything. So he can't be trusted. So she's actually crying because she knows she's going to lose Helena now. They're
gearing up for the big transfer.
Right, because he can no longer be trusted. He's a loose cannon. They got to take their butterfly out of that nest before it gets any.
And Tom Cruise is just going down like a downward spiral psychologically, right?
Right, but he's accepting what, like, you know, Ziegler was saying, oh, what if it was all fake, you know, and maybe it was just a false flag, but then he knows it's not fake, but he had to accept it. He had to accept the cognitive dissonance to no longer be under threat. So that's why his face was like that. He like had to accept it, even though he didn't want to accept it. But people die, happens all the time, you know. Whatever. She died of a drug overdose, just like you met her,
right?
She was a whore at the party, and you met her. She was already overdosed. Like, you know, it's only a matter of time. So, anyway,
that's the way he was blowing it off, because she had dreams of like making it and becoming famous and stuff like that.
Right. Like, she couldn't really be okay. She had dreams, and it was in the paper, but we obviously know she had a drug problem. And she was like, represents the wasted end of these type of women. Like, you get, you know,
you get used up and cast out.
Exactly. Like, when, you know, after those models are done being taken pictures of at Rockefeller Plaza and being whores at the party, if they're not chosen to be mothers like Alice was one of the special ones. She was chosen to be a mother, to make another generation, you know. So a lot of them are just wasted in the abuse and the drugs. You know, not all of them are chosen.
But that theme pervades a lot of these other stories, like Hollywood stories of starlets and pedophile victims. They just get cast out and they commit suicide supposedly or die of drug overdoses.
Case in point,
there's legion stories, man, tons of stories.
Case in point, Marilyn Monroe, and we'll talk about her in a couple seconds. So we see there's, you know, they're walking into this toy store,
which is all red.
All red. So it's another callback to the red carpet. And as it goes through, we see that it's you know, the guy has a red shirt, and he's like putting these bubbles over their heads, like it's like the magic, you know. Down below, he's got the magic circle
on the bottom left, right?
Right. and above there's like a gun that's shooting the Trinity of like 3 balls or whatever. And it's got the
there's like
bubbles.
stars, like pentagrams in the background.
Yes, the stars. Yes, exactly. And so like they're walking through, and they're dazzled by the bubbles, and we see the magic circle down there in the corner, and it's like got a zodiac on it, and it's there's another view of the magic circle box, and it's plain view. We see it, and he says
It has, I think it has the symbols of like
the zodiac.
astrology. Oh, the
Right.
zodiac. You're right.
Yeah. And it says a box of tricks, like you're gonna trick people, you're gonna teach people how to trick them or whatever. So anyway, it's like the game of magic, and they're walking through, and we see in the next one, they're discussing their marital problems or whatever, and in the next one we'll see that Bill moves aside for this thug. You look at the guy all the way to the right. He's a thug. And he doesn't have a kid with him. And he was looking at the ground right where Helena was. As they walked past, he was looking at that same level. He might be looking at the little purple toy that she's dangling, but he was looking down, and Helena was just there in front of them. So at the next one, we see that the thug turns and follows them. You see right between them, that same guy.
That's him. That's the thug, right?
Yep. He stops after he passes them, and he starts following them.
And then there's the dollhouse there. So they went from the box of magic circle to the dollhouse,
Right.
which is the theme for the pedophile girl that Bill was offered, right?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And the like a dollhouse is like a cage, like it's an ornate cage.
And that's like a story about like, you're in the dollhouse. I think that they've used that for girls who are being controlled or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay. She's choosing a teddy bear, and that there's a dude right behind them that has a teddy bear, and he's alone. He doesn't have a kid either. He's like walking through, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I want that." And if you also see to the left, there's hanging tigers and lions and tigers and bears.
Wow.
Oh my!
Right.
But the stuffed tiger goes back to Domino. On Domino's bedspread, she had a stuffed tiger.
Right.
Moving on, we'll see more of those in this Toy Store. Like sums up the whole thing.
Right, and all the themes and all the symbols come back together.
Right. So if you see directly behind her on the wall is a yellow octagon with a checkerboard obelisk in the center.
Get out.
That is highly occult. It's like the octagon is the feminine, like a circle, and the obelisk is their main symbol. And it's checkered. It's black and white checks. It's actually a carousel or whatever, but it's a toy. But Kubrick puts it directly behind her on the red wall, and the octagon is a two-dimensional representation of the Tesseract, and that goes back to the symbolism of the cage within the cage, mental slavery. So this is it's a fertility symbol of the obelisk in the circle, like a lingam in the yoni, and it's checkered. So that goes to the Masonic reference again, and the obelisk obviously is Masonic. They love their obelisks, and this is directly behind her. Like they turn the corner and it's there, and we also see to the right connects. Right. And there's like this thing connects is like making motion, it's moving, so it like calls your attention to the back wall, makes you look. and then you'll see that octagon is there with that obelisk, and that's that's the most occult symbol I think in this whole movie. Is that?
Oh, there's another. Yeah, that's definitely one. There's another one in here that goes back to Crowley's tarot deck. Where's the thug? So the thug is still there, right? Still
Yes.
following around.
You see between them again, following them, and they're in this like teddy bear like space, and the thug is looking around and the teddy bear is following them again. What is happening? You know, Bill is fully enamored with their conversation. He's not paying attention to this thug, but the thug almost bumped into him. He almost ran into the guy
A couple twice. Like he keeps running into him, running up close to him.
exactly, and he's full frame. This thug is there, and then the thug walks down the end of the back of that aisle that they're about to walk down. So the thug is on the other side of the aisle where those two men are going to be.
Right. So then it goes to the Barbie. There's the theme of like the Barbie woman as a Barbie doll.
Yes, this is huge. Okay, so Barbie. Okay, so she's chosen the Nutcracker Barbie, and that we understand about the Nutcracker. We talked about in the first episode of the Nutcracker as pedophilia symbolism, and she was wearing ballet slippers with her butterfly wings in the first scene when we saw her. First scene that we saw her, right? So if we also look to the right, the Whore of Babylon, the Scarlet Woman. And it says, if you look up close on the box, it says Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Right.
And if you understand the cult, they do prefer blondes. You know, they're Nazi eugenicists, and they think that blondes and redheads have more psychic abilities than the other ones. So they covet those above the regular haired. Arizona Wilder taught about that. She was a psychic that would perform rituals for them, and she would, with 3 other sisters, there were like 4 of them, and they would do these rituals together, and their hair was very important. That's why Britney Spears cut off her blonde hair. She says, I don't want them in my hair.
That was her rebellion against all the
Yes,
control or whatever
exactly.
Disney stuff.
Exactly.
And there's the pentagram right there. So Marilyn's on top of the pentagram.
Yes, Marilyn is standing on top, and they're the upside down pentagram, or the upside down star, and that's a golden box. That inside there's a Barbie trapped inside of that box of Satanism. It's a satanic symbol. That's a golden cage that there's a woman trapped inside of. That's Barbie. And if you learn about Barbie, what Barbie's all about, Barbie was one of the ways that they devolved the psychology of America. Ernest Dichter, who is like he's like Bernays on steroids.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that name.
Ernest Dichter created the focus group.
Oh, okay.
And he had a mansion where he would like focus on little children and what they would do, their actions, their subconscious desires, and he was responsible for a lot of he was Bernays on steroids, and he created the Barbie. And it's
I didn't know that. So somebody created the Barbie. Geez.
Yes, and it was based on there was a doll for a German newspaper that was supposed to be like a sexy doll for men, like that came with the sexy comic book, and called the Build Lily, and Lily goes to Lilith, but Build goes to the paper. That's what that related to. And so this doll with these elite people discovered this doll and said, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's give that to kids." So now a little kid has this naked, voluptuous blonde in her hand, and then she goes up to strangers like, play with me. And it's like a reminder for pedophiles. It's like a thing that it's like a sexy reminder of sex with children, like that, it's a thing for adults to be put in the mood. It's It's sick.
It's
And
like not an aphrodisiac, but
well,
it's
it's
like
like
a sexual
pornography.
charged symbol.
Right. Yeah. And they, it has huge breasts and little waist and huge hips, and no normal woman can look like that. And they say, oh, that's just because the clothes and the Velcro, and we need them to look like that. But this puts women and makes them think that they need to aspire to these unreachable goals of beauty and the very red lipstick. And the first Barbies were like in swimsuits and totally sex like objects, and then I gave some screenshots of what some of the current Barbies. There's a chemotherapy Barbie now. There's a
I saw that. Yeah, let me see if I can find
drag queen Barbie. We don't have to really, because I know we're kind of run out of time.
it. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, 15 maybe. I think we're recording. We got 15 minutes left.
Okay.
We hit 2 hours, so that'd be
Good.
4 hour. Somebody wants to know where they can buy your hat.
Yeah, I actually created this hat myself. I cut up a t-shirt, but I should produce these hats. It says "Anarchy is the new order." And that's what that you can find sweatshirts and t-shirts with that on my storefrontier.com/wake the dead. That's my shirt store. And if you'd like, you can shop up a t-shirt yourself and make your own hat like this. Someday,
I'll put that in the show notes.
I'll put them together. That would be good if I could sell some hats. And thank you so much for all the guests that are like making like comments here. It's great to read, and that I'm so thankful that people are listening. So okay, getting back to this. So we see now between them, highlighted because it's like between the two of their faces, we see those two old men, and they're holding the teddy bear. They're like,
bear. Look at how happy they are.
Right.
They're both smiling like newborn parents, right? It reminds you of like a Pieta or something.
Excited to get that.
So excited to get the teddy bear. And then we see these guys. These are the same two guys from here.
Right. The same dudes at the base of the stairs. They looked similar. I don't know if they look a lot alike. But in any case, these two dudes are at the end of the aisle, and they don't have any kids with them. And they're looking at this teddy bear, and she was just wanting a teddy bear, so they're like, okay, teddy bear programming. Okay, she likes teddy bears instead of tigers or whatnot. And this tiger behind Alice is dominating that side of the screen, and that's like her power. And she, like the leopard lioness, that relates to Inanna Ishtar. And that is like, she's always depicted with lionesses and lions. That's it's another callback to her being the goddess of the, and so they're patting Helena on the shoulder, and they're basically pushing her down the aisle.
Right. They're sending her over to the two men.
Right. And they're like sending her down that aisle, and they're like basically saying goodbye. They're kind of pushing their shoulders.
It's a literal and a symbolic event, because it's like the way the illumined world, sends off their kid. Right. So it's like
they give their kid up to sacrifice.
They give it up to this new world system, this kind of illumined system.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're the next one for whether you get sacrificed or whether you get. And
did you get last look? Did you see last look?
It is.
Yeah. There. See, mom is watching. Mom knows what's happening, and little kid is like, okay, goodbye, mom. I'm going with them now. Like, that's what's happening, and he doesn't even see. His eyes are wide shut. He's looking at her, distracted by sex. Just like he's always been. And the mom is letting her daughter go. Goodbye. Go to those thugs. And then on the other side of that aisle is where that Italian-looking thug guy is. He walked down the other side of the aisle. So those two men are walking around the aisle to meet up with that thug guy. And she's following. And that's the last time she will see her mom. Bye, Mom. And then Bill is talking with
So he's
that's
wearing
great.
a T-shirt somewhere.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I love you.
Timo, write your question down again, Timo. I haven't even looked at the questions yet. So somebody redo all of your questions. There's been so much in the chat. It's hard to keep track, and I'm trying to get these pictures up, so I haven't really been minding the chat. So I apologize.
It's all good. Well, we're doing great. I think this is great. And so that's
10 more minutes.
That's her last look, and there she goes and gets taken away. And that's the end of the film. Basically, he is distracted and he's watching her. He's watching Alice, and they're having their conversation. They're close. They're face to face, and and he's like, "Oh, well, not everything. Dreams make me jealous." And she's like, "Yeah, well, real things are bad." And so, but anybody knows when you're a parent in a crowded store. I mean,
keep an eye on your kid.
Exactly. Yeah. And then every viewer who is watching this subconsciously has that tension because he and she are like nose to nose talking to each other about fornication for like what goes on like 5 minutes. They're not looking away from each other.
Right. They're not paying any attention to the kid.
No attention. Right. Everybody knows to watch your kid in a crowded store. Amber Alerts, like in the 90s, the Satanic Panic was on TV. Everybody was scared. That was it. And so the viewers in 99, they have that tension. Like, where is the kid? And sometimes it's unfounded. Sometimes some people recognize that we don't see the kid again. What happened? And the last word that they end on is like is a dirty word, the F word.
Right.
And that she is the queen of the F word. She is the Scarlet.
So she's going to go do it. She's going to go make another Helena.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, she doesn't want his seed. Okay. She gets impregnated at those things.
She goes back to the ritual.
Yeah. Whatever he does to her, I'm sure gets.
But don't you think? What is it, Harfold? Don't you think that he's symbolic of like the humanity, like the kind of naive guy that doesn't see everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he is the dumb like sheeple guy who, yeah,
normie,
and like
normie, like what's going on here? What is this? Who is this?
Right, exactly.
What is all this stuff?
And he stumbles in, and he doesn't understand, and he thinks it's all about sex and banging your balls around, when really it's about creating slaves, and they're
social control. Don't you think it's also about like social preservation of elite preservation? So you see that tricolor hat or whatever it is, the tricorn hat. Yeah, tricorn hat. Like they're showing you that this is elite behavior.
Exactly. Yeah, the elite used to wear a tricorn hat to show off their wigs that they wore, their fancy white wigs. Like they're so crazy. And like Barry Lyndon will show how kooky that type of fashion was. Like, I mean, they would put dots on their face to look like they got a beauty mark, and they would put like white powder all over themselves. Like, it was really crazy. They were like preening themselves like birds, you know what I mean, with fancy dress and feathers and
right. Well, I have to say, like, I mean, a lot of people have agreed who've listened to this. This is the best analysis of Eyes Wide Shut. There's more in there. Like in this toy end, when my analysis, there's clearly, because I know Crowley, there's clearly a lingam yoni phallus in the center. It goes up into the sky, and it's a direct symbolic representation. It goes right to Crowley's Devil Tarot card. You can watch that. It's in there.
Oh, so right.
They laid
the devil is and the devil card actually has a devil in one of the testicles. He's pushing down the other spirits to like be the next one to be born.
It's a total symbol of this regeneration that's a theme in this film.
Right. And if we got a couple minutes, could you open the Gentlemen Prefer Blondes screenshots? Because by showing Marilyn Monroe there, Marilyn Monroe is famous for being an SRA victim who was murdered. Like, that drug overdose was not, and she knew more than she was a presidential model of horror. She was literally what that Alice woman is. And
Wow.
so
She had a weird like understanding of her background, right? Like she didn't know her dad, or her
maybe
mom was crazy.
that makes sense because her mom was probably a victim too. Yep. See there, all the other women have veils over their face, but she has a face because she has diamonds. This is part of the programming people into thinking that diamonds are valuable.
Right.
And the De Beers, they aren't exactly. And the way that they control the diamond mines, all the diamond mines only let out the amount of
right. It's a cartel. It's
yes,
cartelized.
exactly. Yes, and it's run by Cecil Rhodes, who is a Rhodes Scholar, works for not Rhodes Scholar, but he created the Rhodes Scholarship, and he was about bringing America back into Britain. It's about like capturing America for the British Empire. And those are the guys who are the elite, the ones who do prefer blondes, And
I didn't know that this thing was so cultic and like ritual stuff. Like this is off the charts. Look at how she's staring right here.
Yes.
And she's the depiction of the Barbie doll, right?
Yes, she is the Barbie. She's a living Barbie, just like Alice is a living Barbie. You see her naked in the beginning of the film, like, whoa, look at that, And if you see, the women in the chandeliers are furniture. There are other people that are slaves, and in front at their waist they have ram's heads. I mean, that's that's related to the zodiac, Aries.
Right, so she does this thing, looks up, and then the lights turn on, right?
Yes, the light turns on, and if you look at,
she does her
and it's
ritual.
at 1 hour exactly and 33 seconds when the light turns on.
Wow.
Yeah,
so they timed it perfectly.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, and so you see, all the other women have no face; they're veiled. If you don't have diamonds, you have no identity. And like when you wear diamonds, you're the center of the party, and everybody wants to bang you, and you're the blonde, like blah blah blah. And as there's another scene where she's
so these straps are like phallic symbols.
Yes, they're
so
like
she's suggesting
hanging.
that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and she's like under them, grabbing on them, and they're just, all the men are just holding them out. Like, each man has one.
Right. So then the woman is thinking, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then,
look at it. She's like, it's like pornography.
It's pornography.
As if those two, if each one of those is a lingam,
It's a dude.
Yeah, is hanging from a dude. She's like between them and like putting her face all over, And
So
meanwhile, behind
this
them,
is
they
off
have,
the charts. I didn't know. I had no idea. And Madonna did this too, right?
dude.
So Madonna became the next Marilyn kind of prototype.
Madonna tried to act like Marilyn, tried to look like Marilyn. And if you look, this chandelier, these women they are slaves in bondage, wearing black like leather. And the women on the inside are on their back with their legs held open.
Wow. That's crazy.
Dude, women, people as furniture. Like the dude was saying,
BDSM furniture. Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and then we see in like in Clockwork Orange, there was women as furniture, that they would get milk at the milk bar, literally people as furniture here in this, like
it's like the ultimate. So the person, it's like the slave shall serve. Like
yes,
this person doesn't matter.
She's perfect slave. And all those women are like, they're all perfect slaves in the structure of obedience. And all these men get to use them as furniture, and they can dance around, and and they can have their orgy with the black leather strap with diamonds strapped. Like it's like a flogging something, like in BDSM, like it's a flogging strap with a bunch of shiny diamonds on it. And she goes and she's like next to these women that are furniture, and they're blank faced, staring off, not interacting. They're just total slaves, have no will of their own, and she's the only one that can do stuff. And they're all trying to offer their straps to her, like, "Oh, here,
It's
take
totally
mine."
symbolic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obvious. Like when I watched this as a kid, watching it now, it's like a completely different thing.
Yeah,
But
she's
this
like,
is-
"Who, me?
yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
not a whore." Yeah, she is. And she's like on the red, and she's got the pink. Pink is also related to the whore Babylon. Red and pink, those tones similar. But the blood red is more of like the ritual occult. But the pink,
That's crazy.
but the pink relates to the color of a vulva, the inner portions of the vulva is that color, and it subconsciously affects your mind when you see that. And you see these women with ram's heads, and they're holding up the light, just like at the ritual. We didn't really see them because there was nudity, but there are bronze statues of women holding up candles, basically. Like that's the lighting fixtures
right.
in the
Light
place.
fixtures were women holding candles.
Or
Right?
women holding up candles, and that's same as here. So that's
I think that was actually a depiction of Columbia.
Huh. Oh yeah, the
Because
torch.
I think
the
there are
lit torch.
depictions of Columbia too,
Right.
which just gets crazy. But do a
Right.
quick
Where
do a
it's 2
quick
o'clock.
count of how many girls in pink there are.
Oh right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11.
Yeah. So they got the number of magic right there.
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
And that's how many girls are in the ritual at
Right.
the movie that we're talking about, Eyes Wide Shut. So and these women in bondage are all in black, and they're all in the structure, held in. They're slaves.
Right.
And if you look at the base of their black of their posts that they're standing in, is the 8-pointed star of Inanna. There's gold, bronze, or whatever at the base of if you look, is the gold star, or also kind of looks like a rosette, but that's the Inanna Ishtar.
And it goes back to show that this stuff isn't something new that come out with Eyes Wide Shut, that it's been around in these families and stuff, and they're parading in front of you for a long time.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you like to add? Promote your podcast again, your website, where people can get your T-shirts. Do that again.
My podcast is Wake the Dead, and you can find all my work posted on onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean-McCann. You can find it just onegreatwork.network.com under the creator section, or if you scroll down, you'll see my name, Sean McCann. Click there. And there's a donation button if you care to donate. If you think you want to say thank you monetarily, I very much appreciate it, because I'm a working schlub and it's a tough life out there.
It's only going to get tougher for the working class. I got to tell you, once this inflation kicks in, it's not good.
I'm scared. But in any case, like I make T-shirts, and I have I'm an artist, and I produce T-shirts too. And if you wanted to support the show that way, that would get a little bit of money in my pocket as well. If you go to storefrontier.com/wakethedead and see what kind of shirts I have to offer. They're anarchy designs, fine art photography. I'm very proud of that work. So please take a look.
It sounds like you have to put one of your hats together so you can sell.
Yeah, that'd be great. I need more hats, because like this one's starting to fall apart, and I need to make new ones.
There you
anyway.
go.
That's a good
Hats
idea.
are good. Those are a good way to sell some stuff.
Yeah,
again, it's Sean McCann, McCann, Wake the Dead. 4 hours on Eyes Wide Shut. Covered a lot of stuff, but there's a lot more. There's other things involved, like but I know. I mean, you taught me a lot about stuff that I had no idea of, some of these connections. And
that's fantastic.
Really,
I'm so glad.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate you and your time and doing all the research. So thanks so much.
Very
Keep
welcome.
in touch.
Thank you.
Stay there.